Hi, let's have some real talk. Let's talk about things that nobody tells you about aged care. Aged care can be very, very nasty. And when I say nasty, I have no qualms and no inhibitions to say so because I talk out of experience and I talk out of living with people who are taking care of senior citizens. Why I say it is nasty? It is nasty because it can get very, very challenging and lines get blurred between what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Because ultimately, it is about how the caregiver feels and how the caregiver reaches certain points in the process of giving care to their client and have moments of just desperation and anger, which boils down to how frustrated and how helpless and how lonely the caregiver is. Because senior citizens can lose a sense of morality, they can lose a sense of ethics, they can lose the sense of just how a human being is supposed to be living because the brain is degenerating, thinking becomes very, very blur, reasoning out becomes very blur. People are not able to rationalize and judge whether their reaction is pleasant or not pleasant. And this is why caregiving can and is very nasty. Age care or caregiving is a thankless job because you have to do the same thing over and over again, and there is no appreciation, there is no gratitude, there is no thankfulness in return because the person who's supposed to be giving you all that is incapable of doing so. There are fights, there are misunderstandings, and there are a lot of questions and unsatisfactory remarks that are given to you perpetually, which can make you feel broken and which can make you feel unappreciated. And I say it with a lot of empathy that aged care can be a thankless job. They will not appreciate you. Nobody knows the value of appreciating you. Taking care of you is something that people do not even want to think about because they know how thankless and unappreciated it can be. And it becomes even more challenging when you do it for your own people. When children take care of their parents and the parents are not happy, they are perpetually complaining, they are perpetually crying, they are not satisfied, they do not even show a sign of gratitude towards you, and you feel very lost, very lonely, demeaned to say the least. And it can be really, really hard, especially when you take care of your own. And so I say, aged care is a thankless, unappreciated job. A very, very common thing, and I think this will be my greatest battle, is to get people into the aged care. Nobody wants to do aged care because, like I said, it can be challenging, it can be nasty, and it can be thankless. Now, why did I choose to speak about this? It is because I do not want to gatekeep. I do not want to tell people what is not true. I do not want to get into the marketing gimmicks of people. I do not want to be just another agency that promises you one thing and makes you do something else. I want to keep it straight. I want to keep it honest. And I understand why people do not want to do aged care. I understand it completely. And this is my biggest battle because I know how important it is, but at the same time, I also know how difficult it is. And Me as a senior living consultant cannot cannot and will not force people to do it, considering how difficult it is. And I understand why people do not want to do it. And that's why a very important part that nobody talks about is nobody wants to do aged care. Lastly, family members disappear when they see an elderly person in their house. How many times have you seen elders with a big family? How many times have you seen people wanting to be with the elderly? You will see a common phenomenon, especially in Mangalore, that all houses are left with aging people or the elderly. Why? Of course, you can give examples that we have to go to work, we have to fend for the family, we have to fulfill our dreams. But the reality is, nobody wants to stay. Everybody disappears when it comes to being with elderly. Again, because of the reasons that I have mentioned before, and also because of generational gap and the raising economy of the country. But the truth still remains that nobody wants to be around elderly. But the biggest truth and the biggest irony of it all is we are all going to end up like that. So you have to ask some difficult questions. Am I going to run away from my responsibilities? Am I going to be a little more diligent? Am I going to think out of the box and think about the future? Am I going to be empathetic in a very strategic way where I ask myself, this is the process of life, this is the circle of life. Today, my parents are the elderly, tomorrow, I will be an elderly. So, what is my responsibility as an individual who is a part of this society? Am I going to be selfish? Am I going to be living in a bubble? Am I going to see out of the box? Am I going to be a little bit considerate? Am I going to be a curious person where I want to see what is happening in the world around me and be a little more responsible, present in understanding the cycle of life and doing things that are beneficial to the society, because you are the society. I am the society. We are all a part of the society, and we have responsibilities, we have duties, and we have obligations. And elder care, age care, it's a very important part of the society. And we, as the younger ones, we, as being educated and having so much access to technology and information, it is our duty and obligation to break this cycle and be more responsible and be more present and sensitive towards these topics, because it is going to backfire, and it is going to backfire really, really badly. So I urge and I request people who watch this from an angle of doing something bigger, doing something out of the box, which will not only benefit the present society but the future, which you and I will be a part of. Think about this. Think about this deeply and try to come to a conclusion that will help you change your mind about the entire scenario of aged care in our country and in the world in general. Thank you.